The recent anti-corruption focus these days has really got two fronts to it. One is the financial system. The other one, drawing even more attention right now, is Shanghai, where Vice Mayor Chen Yujin was just taken down last month.
Chen Yujin was promoted by Xuexiang, Ding's own man on the ground, running this whole network locally for him. On the surface, Chen's case looks like just another vice mayor falling from grace. But dig a little deeper and it actually leads straight into Xi Jinping's innermost, most secretive circle of power. Oh, the Zhongnanhai wives circle, you mean?
Over the past 20+ years, more standing committee members have come out of Shanghai than anywhere else. Ji Liqiang, Ding Xuexiang, Wang Huning, they all served there.
The Conservatives in Xi's own camp want Ding Xuexiang installed for a smooth face-saving handover. The Reform faction insists they can't let someone from the old guard just paper it over and rise anyway.
So Xi, at the 20th Congress, went and put Ding Xuexiang into this seat, and he happens to be the youngest member on the entire standing committee right now. Ding Xuexiang may well be a candidate that Xi Jinping went out and picked entirely on his own without anyone else's input.
Jiang Qing's entire family, completely raided, no exceptions, nothing left standing. This time around, the opposition is aiming lower and much deeper, going after the historical standing and the whole theoretical legacy Xi has spent over a decade building up.
Hi everyone, welcome to PinnacleView. I'm Xuexiang. China's anti-corruption drive, the key issue was never corruption itself, it's the power struggle. Everyone already knows that. So wherever this anti-corruption fire spreads next, that tells you where the real power struggle inside the party stands right now. Lately, the focus has landed on two fronts: finance, especially the securities regulators. The other front is Shanghai, where Vice Mayor Chen Yujin was just taken down last month out of nowhere. And over the past 20+ years, more Politburo Standing Committee members have come out of Shanghai than out of anywhere else in the whole country. Xi Jinping, Liqiang, Ding Xuexiang, and Wang Huning, all of them served there at one point or another in their careers. So any tremor at all in Shanghai's officialdom gets everyone's attention. So whether or not Xi actually wins re-election at the 21st Congress, the two men everyone's really watching closely right now are Liqiang and Ding Xuexiang. So today, whether it's the upheaval inside the financial system or the rise and fall of officials over in Shanghai, it likely all comes back down to this one single thing. Joining me today, veteran journalist Ms. Guo and independent filmmaker Li Jun. Let's talk about Puritang's Black Ginseng. Everyone knows Black Ginseng is prized as a premium health food. Puritang recently heard from a Western customer who said the product blew away his expectations. He felt noticeably more energetic after just 1 week. Normally, he says he can't take any ginseng products at all because most of them tend to give him uncomfortable heat symptoms pretty fast. But he said this particular Puritang Black Ginseng had absolutely none of that problem whatsoever. He said the only real complaint he had about this Puritang Black Ginseng was that it tastes so unbelievably good, he genuinely has to hold himself back from eating too much of it at once. Honestly, I feel exactly the same way about it myself, truly. Every single time I snip off a piece with the scissors, I end up wanting even more of the stuff.
One stick, honestly, actually lasts you a whole entire week if you're not careless with it.
Right, one whole stick lasting a full week, that's actually a lot longer than most people out there would probably make it last, honestly speaking. You really shouldn't take too much of it at once, though. What matters most with any supplement at the end of the day is how well your body actually absorbs it. Xuanbao Black Ginseng goes through a traditional fermentation process, so it's broken down into much finer molecules and absorbs really easily. You don't need to take much of it. Its active compounds are smaller than regular fresh ginseng, so your body takes it in far more easily. So a little bit genuinely goes a long way every time. So now when you're actually checking out on a Puritang Black Ginseng order, make sure you go and enter the exclusive promo code JYLT. That gets you completely free shipping anywhere in the world. On top of that, there are gifts thrown in for larger orders too. Spend $500 and you get a whole root of black ginseng completely free. And spend $3,000 and they'll throw in a premium grade root as well. That's a genuinely rare deal, honestly hard to come by. I actually saw the premium root myself the other day. It's noticeably longer and thicker than the boxed version they usually sell. Whatever's going on in the world around us, your health is what matters most at the end of the day. All right, let's get back now to our actual topic here, Ms. Guo. The Discipline Commission's notices lately, it really feels like more and more of them touch the financial sector somehow, doesn't it? A lot of people out there say that's connected to Wang Qishan, but honestly, I really don't think that's actually it this time around.
If you simply chalk this round of financial purges up to Xi cleaning house on Wang Qishan again, I actually think that's the wrong read on it. From Xi's side, you had a subordinate who'd grown too powerful for his own good. That kind of imbalance was always eventually going to get corrected. It was basically his fate. So Wang Qishan gradually stepped back. Over time, Xi needed to cut into his power base. But here's the key part. When Wang retreated, the resources behind him, that whole enormous financial network didn't just disappear along with him. It simply couldn't disappear. That network was far too big for that. So it essentially transferred over almost wholesale and became part of Xi's own base of power. And Wang Qishan's old resource network, its roots were planted in Shanghai. Very possibly it's Wen Jiabao's camp doing exactly that, tracing the thread carefully, methodically dismantling Xi's power base piece by piece. Just another move on the board.
A lot of people out there assume China's real center of power has to be Beijing, but actually a huge chunk of the financial world sits in Shanghai instead. That's really what makes this whole thing interesting, which brings us, of course, naturally to this man right here, Chen Yujian. He's Shanghai's vice mayor, and he fell from power just last month, seemingly completely out of nowhere. Is that too somehow connected to something happening in the financial world here?
On the surface, Chen Yujian's case looks like just another vice mayor falling. But dig a little deeper, and it actually leads straight into the most secretive corner of Xi Jinping's inner circle. Xi Jinping was the real power behind Zhongji Group, a completely self-made man who built it up from absolutely nothing into an empire managing well over £1 trillion yuan in assets. He worked his way all the way up, step by step, from a regional private financier into the Zhongnanhai wives' circle itself, if you can believe it. And what actually got him there wasn't deal-making at all, believe it or not. It was simply marrying the singer Mao Amin. Everyone in China knows Mao Amin. She's Shanghai's household name singer, practically a national treasure. And here's the key thing. She and Peng Liyuan actually come from that very same entertainment world background. And the two of them are close, long-time personal friends. So through that connection with Mao Amin, Xie Zhikun got a direct line into Peng Liyuan's circle of friends. On the surface, it looks like singing, dancing, socializing. But really, it's one of the most hidden, most core channels into Xi Jinping's whole political business network. And once Peng Liyuan built that bridge, the person Xie Zhikun was really connecting to next was Ding Xuexiang himself.
You're saying this ties to Ding Xuexiang?
Right. Back when Xi Jinping first took over as Shanghai's party secretary, Ding Xuexiang was serving right there as his chief of staff. It was only 7 months, honestly speaking, but that early loyalty and service really paid off, and it carried him all the way up the ladder afterward. Director of the General Office, Politburo Standing Committee member, first Vice Premier, he became Xi's closest, most trusted right-hand man. So once Xie Zhikun, through Peng Liyuan, finally got aligned to Ding Xuexiang, his business essentially had a golden ticket straight into Xi's inner circle. That's really the true, honest reason he could scale all the way up to $1 trillion+ yuan without any friction at all. And Chen Yujian got his foot in the door through exactly that connection, Ding Xuexiang. Chen was the man Ding personally promoted. Years earlier, when he was running Shanghai's Songjiang district, Chen greased the wheels for Xie Zhikun's business dealings and opened doors for him. He was basically the local enforcer making this whole network actually run. When Zhongji Group collapsed in 2024, the empire went bankrupt. Hundreds of billions, mostly wealthy people investing for other wealthy people. Not small retail investors, and they lost everything. Xie Zhikun himself died suddenly of a heart attack back in 2021. And the timing, the manner of it, it echoes how HNA's Wang Jian died.
Right, I remember the story was he was at the gym and suddenly it was a heart attack.
Right, that's when it happened.
On the surface, Chen Yujian walked away completely clean from the whole affair. No fallout of any kind. He rose smoothly all the way up to vice mayor afterward. An official who cleared the road for that kind of elite capital and then walked away clean for years afterward, that tells you his backer was somebody serious. And that backer was his political patron, Ding Xuexiang. Ding Xuexiang was the one who brought him up. So why is Chen suddenly getting taken down now? My read is, this actually confirms the bigger pattern we've been talking about. The elders' decision-making and ideology coordination group is systematically dismantling Xi's power base. And the order they're doing it in isn't random. The target, ultimately, is Xi himself. So Chen Yujian's fall might not look like a particularly huge story sitting on its own, but it's actually a real signal. It shows that Xi's most core circle, Peng Liyuan's own inner network, even Ding Xuexiang, the chief of staff himself, none of it is really off limits to investigators anymore. And that right there is exactly the proof that Xi's core power base has already come loose at the seams.
So, you're saying that a lot of these falls we're seeing, this whole direction the investigation seems to be heading in right now, could actually now be aimed squarely at Ding Xuexiang himself, because as we all already know, he might well be next in line for the top job here in the party. There's a lot of speculation right now. Is that the real reason?
Honestly, the talk about Ding Xuexiang being the successor has been going around for a long time now. People have been saying it for ages. If you actually trace his roots back, he's a technocrat who rose entirely within the Shanghai system, a materials research institute, then the Shanghai Science Commission, district chief out in Jiabei, then head of Shanghai's personnel bureau. Tracing that whole career line down, by background he should really count as Shanghai gang. Right, he's from Nantong, groomed by the Jiang faction. In 2007, when Xi was parachuted into Shanghai as party secretary, Ding became his chief of staff. He was responsible for handling Xi's daily schedule and administrative affairs, basically 7 months serving as Xi's own personal secretary, day in and day out. 7 months sounds short on paper, but that bond left a genuinely strong impression on Xi at the time, and that's exactly what carried him up the ladder afterward. Director of the General Office, then the Politburo Standing Committee, and finally first Vice Premier. And here's the part people tend to overlook. Strictly speaking, Xi Jinping himself is Jiang faction too. He was pushed up by Jiang's people, by Zhang Qinghong personally. Exactly, that's how he moved from Fujian to Zhejiang to Shanghai and then into the central leadership. So Ding Xuexiang and Xi Jinping, at the end of the day, really do share that exact same background, Jiang faction, Shanghai gang, cut from the same cloth. That's exactly why Xi's been so willing to keep using him, and why Ding's managed to hold his footing right next to Xi for so many years running. So why is it that all the attention right now keeps converging on Ding Xuexiang specifically? It really comes back to that same board game we keep coming back to, the succession fight at the 21st Congress. Because Xi's push for re-election is hitting real resistance. On the table today, aside from Hu Chunhua, whom Hu Jintao designated a generation back, the only names left are the post-1960 men, Ding Xuexiang and Li Qiang.
Technically, Li Qiang was born in July of '59, a few months short of post-1960.
Right, but Li Qiang, he just does what he's told, whoever happens to be giving the order at the time. So as we've discussed on this show before, Hu Chunhua's price for taking over is genuinely brutal. He wants to settle scores with Xi's family, get the real story behind Li Keqiang's death, and force officials to fully disclose their assets. Any single one of those things could shake the whole regime's legitimacy and stability. And that's exactly what the conservative elders, led by Zhang Qinghong, cannot accept. Because this group's whole calculation comes down to one thing: protect the party, keep the system standing. So, under those exact conditions, Ding Xuexiang's advantage becomes pretty obvious, doesn't it? Like we said, his Jiang faction, Shanghai gang background means the conservatives feel an instinctive closeness toward him, without any of the fear that comes with someone like Hu Chunhua, of old scores suddenly getting dug back up and settled. Because he served right under Xi for 7 months and rose through Xi's own patronage, Xi's camp accepts him too. It's not a total break from Xi's people that gives everyone a real sense of safety. So in the end, Ding Xuexiang is one of the very few candidates both the conservative faction and what's left of Xi's own loyalists can reluctantly nod along to. And that's really the fundamental reason he's become the current frontrunner. But here's the catch, and it's a genuinely real one. The very same thing that helps him is exactly what ends up blocking him too. The reform camp, the whole line running through Wen Jiabao and Hu Chunhua, will never ever accept Ding Xuexiang taking over the top job. Because at his very core, Ding is part of Xi's own system of vested interests, that whole web of political business power we keep talking about. Install him, and it just means a different face carrying on the exact same cover-up as before. The reform camp wants real accountability for Xi's own circle's corruption, the political business collusion, the family enrichment that's gone on for years. None of that gets touched under Ding. So right now, the core fault line inside Zhongnanhai comes down to exactly this. And the reformers simply won't allow that to happen, not a single chance. So this whole tug of war is going to be the next real flashpoint worth watching closely, going forward from here.
Li Jun, how do you personally read all this coming out of Shanghai, this whole power struggle unfolding? You've joked before, we all know, that Li Keqiang's death was almost brought on by overseas commentators, with all that constant talk of Xi's up, Li's down, and then, well, it actually happened for real. So now Ding Xuexiang is squarely in the crosshairs as well. Do you think it's actually Xi's own side coming after him, or is it somebody else pulling the strings here? What's your honest read on it?
Honestly, since we're already talking about Chen Yujin here today, go back to when Xie Zhikun first actually got into trouble. that really wasn't out of nowhere at all. You know, he'd already been reported by quite a lot of people well before that particular point. Chen Yujin was actually the one protecting Xie Zhikun at the time, and the evidence against him was genuinely damning stuff. But Shanghai on its own simply couldn't contain it, so it went all the way up to the center, and the center just buried it there quietly. Who at the center has that kind of power to bury it?
Ding Xuexiang.
Because by that exact point in time, Ding Xuexiang was already serving as director of the general office, and he's the one who personally pulled it back and buried the whole thing. They're digging up his old business now, and really, it's Ding Xuexiang's own baggage they're actually after here, going through Chen. So is Ding Xuexiang the one really being targeted in all this? My own personal take on it is, going after him this hard right now seems a little bit early. Honestly, the 21st Congress is still more than a full year off at this point. But right now, somebody out there is clearly gathering material on him, quietly collecting leverage against him piece by piece. And once they've actually got that leverage firmly in hand, whether he plays along willingly or simply falls in line and cooperates, everything changes completely from that point on. And if it comes down to the real succession fight later, and somebody's holding a card over you, that's a completely different game. So right now, I genuinely think this is deliberate, targeted, not some random coincidence at all. Why now? Of all possible times. Right as the fight over the 21st Congress is heating up. And honestly, Ding Xuexiang is a genuinely low-profile guy by nature. It's genuinely hard to find something on him directly. You really have to dig for it. But this clearly ties back to him somehow. Maybe he just had this one single vulnerability tucked away somewhere quiet, and somehow somebody still managed to dig it out. So no, this is absolutely not a coincidence.
And there's something else too. You know, there's actually a video that's been circulating recently over on X. It's worth mentioning.
Oh, that one's really blown up.
Let's roll it right now for our viewers. This is Ding Xuexiang and Xi Jinping together in the same shot. Looks like it's from 2025, if I'm remembering right.
Take a look at this clip.
What really stands out here the most is their body language in this clip. Xi Jinping looks almost like a brand new guy showing up at a meeting, actively going through his materials and prepping. And Ding Xuexiang is just sitting back there completely at ease, like a man who's already got everything figured out ahead of time. And that contrast between them is genuinely quite stark once you look at it. So once this clip started circulating online, people began commenting right away. Some said, watching this footage, Ding almost looks like he's got the bearing of an emperor sitting there. He's sitting there like he's running the whole show. And it's Xi who looks like the subordinate. But normally in Chinese officialdom, whoever's sitting relaxed like that, that's supposed to be the deputy, not the boss, right?
So it's almost like the roles are flipped.
Now, this footage has clearly been edited down quite a bit, pulled straight out of a much longer recording somewhere. Just one moment lifted out of context. And if you're asking me, my guess is this probably wasn't even shot on somebody's phone to begin with. But once this footage got out there into the world, the overall impression it left people with was that Ding Xuexiang comes across as a steady, grounded, genuinely substantial kind of person. And honestly, that actually helps his public image quite a bit. People watching it end up thinking, this guy actually seems pretty interesting. So the real question becomes, who exactly released this footage and why right now? This particular clip surfaced publicly on July 16th. That's the date. I actually went and traced the video all the way back to its original source, and the earliest point it shows up anywhere on X is that same day, the 16th. It's entirely possible it actually existed a whole day earlier, back on the 15th, just nobody had really picked up on it yet at that particular point. But think carefully about the timing here for a second. This comes out right as everyone's arguing over whether Xi wins re-election at the 21st Congress, whether he even has a successor lined up at all. So I think that particular possibility is genuinely worth watching closely going forward. And I'd say Ding Xuexiang is, in my own view, honestly the lowest profile figure inside Xi's entire camp since he first moved to Beijing. People almost never see him out front at all. How he talks, what he actually says in public, almost nothing gets out. And on top of that, he already spent 10 years serving as director of the general office, and right now he's effectively functioning as the country's own first vice premier. If he takes one more step up from where he's standing, he'd be at minimum premier, or NPC chairman, or maybe even general secretary and state president outright, going all the way to the very top. So back at the 20th Congress, Xi went ahead and put him into that exact seat as the youngest member on the entire standing committee at the time. He's actually the only post-1960 member sitting on the entire committee right now. So personally, I really do think Ding Xuexiang may well be a candidate Xi Jinping picked out entirely on his own. And this is genuinely very possible because remember, the man Hu Jintao originally designated across a whole generation was actually Hu Chunhua. But knowing Xi Jinping's personality the way we do, would he ever really accept an arrangement that was made by Hu Jintao? He'll make his own arrangement instead, on his own terms. But whether he personally accepts that arrangement is honestly a separate question altogether. But if something ever happens to his health unexpectedly, then fine, somebody steps in temporarily. And of course, the infighting inside Xi's own camp is genuinely fierce too. Don't forget that. Cai Qi isn't going to just accept it if Ding Xuexiang tries to take over. He's out there right now, actively telling everyone he's essentially already the man, just one single step from the throne itself. You can even see it a while back. He put that exact message out internationally through an interview with The Economist over in the UK.
But there's also somebody else inside Xi's own circle that he genuinely, personally likes a whole lot. and that's Li Qiang. And Li Qiang really isn't a dark horse candidate anymore at this point in the game at all. He's basically become the obvious, widely recognized favorite by now.
But talking about Li Qiang right now isn't really much of a discussion inside Xi's own camp. It's actually a telling sign that Xi is already on his way out. The Conservatives picked Li Qiang up recently, specifically because he's a man who genuinely doesn't offend anyone. That's exactly why. And the moment Xi actually steps down for good, there's simply no room left over for someone like Chai Chi anymore.
Okay, I get what you're saying there. Politically speaking, especially once you're at that particular level of power, you're really not in full control of your own fate anymore, are you?
Right, exactly.
It's really not simply a matter of what you personally want in this whole game. So a lot of people right now are actively debating a compromise candidate. It could be Ding Xuexiang, it could be Li Qiang, or it could even be Hu Junhua. And we've actually discussed all three of these names on the show before. But somebody with Li Qiang's particular temperament, mild-mannered, low-key, not especially sharp or threatening to anyone, that kind of figure actually puts everyone involved at ease across the board, honestly.
Right, that's exactly the quality people want.
Funny thing is, Xi Jinping himself was seen exactly that way when he first rose to power. People thought he was mild, unassuming. That's exactly why they pushed him to the top. And then once he actually got there, the man completely changed. He simply changed.
That's exactly why Hu Junhua wants a full reckoning so the country never gets another Xi Jinping.
Well, that's certainly the talk going around out there quite a lot these days, isn't it? People saying Hu Junhua has taken a genuinely hard, uncompromising line lately. Is that right?
I can genuinely understand it, honestly. Because if he doesn't settle the score with Xi's power base now, once Hu Jintao is no longer around to protect him, Hu Junhua would be in real danger himself down the line.
If Xi really doesn't end up running for re-election after all, this year's fifth plenum ought to reveal exactly that. Could be one name, could even be two. And going by precedent, if it happens, it really should be two post-1960 figures put forward together. Should be two post-1960 figures. And right now, Ding Xuexiang is the only sitting standing committee member who actually counts as post-1960. Li Qiang was born July of 59. So technically, he'll turn 68 next year. Li Keqiang already retired at 68, so could Li Qiang keep going past that age anyway? No, it's not impossible, honestly. The old 7 up, 8 down age rule has been scrapped. It really doesn't count for anything anymore. So, Ms. Guo, we all know that in August, the party holds its annual retreat out at Beidaihe, like every year. And everyone says the infighting happening in Beijing right now is genuinely intense. What's your honest read? Who's really fighting whom here? Is this a fight between different factions inside Xi's own camp, or is it Xi against outside forces, like the party elders? That's your call.
What we can actually see on the surface right now is three major political forces contending against each other. The first one of those is the reform camp. Its core is people like Wen Jiabao and Liu Yuan, that whole group, and their base is mostly people with a Youth League faction background. They're pushing hard for a full reckoning with Xi's own circle, real accountability, disclosed assets, the whole package. We've already covered this in real detail in earlier episodes of the show. The second force is the conservative camp, and its figurehead is Zheng Qinghong. This camp pulls together nearly every old guard conservative figure left in the party, people like Zhang Dejiang and the late Jia Qinglin as well, plus a significant share of the princeling red second-generation families. And what this camp really wants, at its core, is to protect the party, protect the system, and keep their own families' accumulated fortunes from ever being dug up. So this camp insists on giving Xi Jinping a dignified, thoroughly face-saving way out of power. The third force in play is Hu Jintao. Strictly speaking, he counts as roughly half reform camp himself, but his personal weight in all this is simply different from everyone else's. He's the only former party chief who's still alive, still standing today. And in a system as obsessed with seniority and rank as the CCP, that status alone carries enormous weight. What matters even more, on January 20th of this year, Xi Jinping made a sudden move to seize military power back from Zhang Yuxia, and it didn't succeed. And after that failed move, the military's loyalty to Hu Jintao actually grew even stronger, especially inside the Air Force. Right now, the real center of gravity in the Chinese military sits with the Air Force faction, and the newly promoted full generals mostly answer to Hu Jintao. So Hu Jintao still has real substantive leverage over the military even today. That's exactly the leverage that lets him have a real meaningful voice in this whole ongoing game. And the reason everyone's fighting so hard right now, with all these rumors flying around, the root of it traces straight back to that January 20th move. Everyone suddenly realized that to hold on to power, Xi Jinping will break any rule at all. He was even willing to go after a general as senior as Zhang Yuxia. And that shared fear ended up pushing the reformers, the conservatives, even part of Xi's own camp to quietly agree on one single point. Xi Jinping simply cannot win another term. A surprising number of factions have landed in the exact same place on that point. So the real question now isn't whether to replace him, it's who replaces him and how that happens. That's really where the whole focus has landed at this point. And going by the usual pattern for a post-1960 succession, the fifth plenum is normally the moment the successor's name actually gets revealed to everyone. Right now, the only sitting post-1960 Standing Committee member is Ding Xuexiang himself. Li Qiang, born in '59, sits right on that edge by the old rules. And yes, the old age rule is basically dead now, in name only really, but the successor pick is still completely stuck, unresolved. And that's exactly why the fifth plenum, which was originally supposed to happen back in July, simply couldn't go ahead as planned this time. Word going around now is it's been pushed back, most likely all the way to October. So put it together, and the signal lands at exactly the worst possible moment. The fifth plenum can't happen, the succession pick is completely stuck, and the Beidaihe retreat is coming right up. Beidaihe could very well be this year's final showdown in this whole power struggle.
So it's not really the case that Xi Jinping has everything under control right now with the situation all settled. And going by what you're describing, is it fair to say most people right now actually don't want Xi to win re-election?
That's right. And this time around, the pushback isn't just some single faction being unhappy about one thing. People are now actively tearing down the very ideological foundation that Xi built his entire rule on top of. Take Jiang Qingquan, arrested a few days ago. Most people outside have never heard of him, but he carries real weight.
He's the director of the Central Policy Research Office, right? Is that the one?
Right, and to put it a lot more precisely, he's actually the real ghostwriter, the mastermind behind the entire theoretical framework of what's officially called Xi Jinping thought.
So he's the guy who's been drafting all that ideology behind the scenes.
He's literally the man behind the actual writing of Xi Jinping thought. And in this system, going after someone is never simply about whether that particular person is personally corrupt or not. Who gets targeted and under what pretext, that's already a political statement. And Jiang Qingquan is no regional power broker at all. He holds no real administrative power, no territory and no troops behind him. His entire value to the system was providing theoretical cover and endorsement for Xi's ideology. Nothing more than that, really. So when they go after someone purely symbolic, purely ideological like him, that tells you the real target isn't some staffer around Xi anymore at all. It's aimed squarely at erasing the historical standing and theoretical legacy Xi has spent over a decade building. So the political signal being sent here is genuinely blunt. Honestly, this is going after his verdict in the history books itself. Most of the opposition to Xi right now isn't just about the re-election question anymore at all. It's his entire governing theory, that whole cult of personality narrative being ripped straight out at the root. And what happened to Jiang Qingquan is a very clear, very telling footnote to exactly that signal.
So, Li Jun, people out there are saying that Xi Jinping can't even get his own house in order internally right now, can't even lock down the 21st Congress, and that's supposedly why he needs this so-called strategic stability with the US instead. Is that actually right, in your view? Meaning he needs to settle things at home first before he can deal with anything else out there. Is he genuinely running into that much trouble internally these days, would you say? Right?
Heading into the 21st Congress, I genuinely think the party is entering maybe its most unstable stretch in years. Inside the CCP right now, anything at all could happen. The elders and the princelings too all know. Another term for Xi basically means rule for life.
Right, and that's exactly why the Beidaihe retreat matters so much this particular year. You see, August is when Beidaihe actually happens, and we're already sitting here right at the very end of July as we speak. After Beidaihe wraps up in August, Xi Jinping then heads over for his visit to America in September.
It should be October.
We'll see the real signs at the fifth plenum.
Right, that's definitely when it'll show.
Right, if the fifth plenum shows no sign of a successor, Xi's very likely to win re-election.
Whether it's Ding Xuexiang or Cai Qi who can actually take over the top job, honestly, at this point, it really isn't about who Xi personally supports or how he tries to maneuver it behind the scenes. It comes down to whether every single faction inside the party can actually accept it. The reformers, the conservatives, the princelings, the officials' own children, and frankly, the whole body of the Central Committee itself. So every official who falls before and after Beidaihe, every shift in diplomatic posture we happen to see, these could all be signs worth watching closely. Somebody's playing a card out there. Somebody's naming their price. The real answer may well surface very soon now, honestly speaking, one way or another. All right, that's really all the time we have for today's show, everyone. Thank you both so much for joining me here today, and thank you all out there for watching and for all your comments too. We'll see you all again next time.